Welcome to Sauce or Loss, where we look at the most recent support Bandai puts on our plate and see if we throw it in the pot or put it in the trash, where it belongs. You know one thing I hate as a red hybrid player? Okay, besides deletion prevention. Options insecurity. Honestly, we should just get rid of options. Who even needs them? They just get in the way of me smacking some face. So when it comes to playing yellow decks, or even just option-based decks, none of them really clicked with me. A few years back when I was still new to Digimon, I saw a gameplay video from a channel I'm sure most of you know, Card Protagonist, showcasing a match between D-Reaper, which I did want to make, and Sakuyamon. Watching the gameplay of the deck, doing both of the things I dismissed at first by using the plugins to either warp or gain extra swings in an all monocolor yellow deck really sold me on it. Cut to today, I did eventually make the deck, but it's just been sitting on my shelf collecting dust, just waiting for some new support to match the current meta. Until very recently, it got support not only in EX8, but in BT19, which for us was Special Booster 2.5. How about we take a look at the support of both sets and see how good the support was for the Sakuyamon deck. And now, the first card we're going to be talking about is Viximon. It's a yellow Digi-Egg with the inheritable end of your turn once per turn. Return one option card with plugin in its name from your trash to the hand. This is a pretty good card for the deck. Sure, it sucks it's only end of your turn, but getting to grab any plugin is a pretty powerful effect for a non-conditional inherit. There is one very large issue though, and it's the fact that EX2 Viximon still exists. I mean, by using basically any 2 or more cost option, you get to draw a card absolutely free. So you can't really top that. I'm not saying the card isn't worth running at all. Maybe if you use Ukos, this can definitely be ran as a 5th egg, or if you're worried about not getting your plugins back from the trash, then I can definitely see a reason to run it over EX2. But personally, I'm just going to stick to running the old egg. Again, this is not a bad card, but with the standard already set by the previous egg, this card just barely hits loss. And now for the next card, a Digimon you should all be familiar with, Renamon. It's a yellow Digimon with 1k DP. It has the effect start of your main phase. If you have a Rika Nonaka or a Kyubimon, gain 1 memory. It also has an inherit your turn once per turn. When you use option cards with a use cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2 KDP for the turn. As fellow hunter Chaos Degrade pointed out to us during the card reveals, this is the first and currently only Renamon without an on-play effect. So that's pretty interesting. Like the new Gyomon and Terriermon in this set, the memory gain is easy to fulfill as long as you have the respective Tamer or Kyubimon out, which shouldn't be difficult to do. And also some really nice theming that all the Tamer rookies kind of match each other and have a similar effect. Again, similar to the new Viximon, cards like EX2 and BT17 Renamon are hard to replace and provide the deck incredibly powerful searches with great inherits. The inherit on this card is great too, but I'd rather just run the cards that help me find what I need, and you'll be running a lot of trainings and boosts, so memory gain isn't as needed. I would tell you to run 2, but the next card I'll mention is worth running instead. I don't want to give it this rating because it really isn't a bad card, but hey, I can't rate everything sauce and we gotta keep it a little interesting. So sorry Renamon, but today you're lost. Now how about we jump on back to EX8 and take a look at another level 3 it gave us. Renamon X Antibody. It's a level 3 yellow Digimon with 2 KDP. It can Digivolve onto a Renamon for a cost of 0. It has on play when Digivolve, return 1 option card with plug in its name from your trash to the hand. It has the inherit your turn once per turn. When you use option cards with a use cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2 KDP for the turn. Can't believe it took us this long to get the X line for Sakuyamon. They probably worried about all the fan art that would be spawned. Dodging the furries for a second, the effect is excellent, getting to X Evo onto Renamon to get any plugin back, or by even using Yellow Scramble's delay/security effect to play it out, since it just barely hits the DP amount. Since you'll be going pretty option heavy in this deck, you'll want to run at least 2 or 3, and thankfully having the same inherit as BT19 Renamon means you are still dropping the DP minus with no issues. No excuses this time, no doubt this card is sauce. And now for our next card, we're going to be talking about Kyubimon. It's a level 4 yellow Digimon with 5k DP. It has the effect when Digivolving. If you have 1 or fewer Tamers, you may play 1 Rika Nonaka from your hand without paying the cost. It has the inheritable your turn once per turn. When you use option cards with a use cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2 KDP for the turn. It's nice to see we're moving past the BT12 champions and now giving the same 1 or fewer Tamers like in EX7 to all the decks. And believe me, this is a deck that wants your Tamers out. The BT17 Kyubimon was a great addition for the deck at the time, and personally I think it's still worth running, but unfortunately has that old way of checking if you have the Tamer already out. So this new one letting you play one even if you already have one, thankfully comes to fix the issue. It's funny how far we've come from EX2, giving you a level 5 that could play out a Tamer for free unconditionally, and nowadays we'd find that too slow. It's interesting how fast the game has become. Regardless of all that, this card is excellent for the deck and is easily sauce. And now for a card I'm sure most of you are familiar with, Taomon Ace. It's a level 5 yellow Digimon with 8 KDP. It can blast Digivolve. It has on play when Digivolve. If it's your turn, you may use one single color use cost 5 or lower option card from your hand without paying the cost. If it's your opponent's, for the turn, give one of their Digimon security tech -1, and it can activate when Digivolving effects. It has overflow -3, and has the inheritable when attacking. One of your opponent's Digimon gets -4 KDP for the turn. Now, many of you should already know about this card, but I ain't here to talk about spamming room modes to the point where my parents don't even want to talk to me anymore. In my personal opinion, out of the Tamer Aces, this is by far the best one, and yes, even better than just Digimon Ace. 1v1 me in the comments. On your turn, it's basically a better BT17 Taomon that can work with any color as long as you meet color requirements. And on your opponent's turn, it's basically pause plugin on a body, but giving sec -1 instead, which is gonna come up way more often on your opponent's turn. On top of all that, the inheritable is a great DP minus with no once per turn. Man, if only there was a way to unsuspend your stack. Easily. This card is sauce. And now for our boss monster, we have Sakuyamon, a level 6 yellow Digimon with 11 KDP. It can Digivolve into a Sakuyamon main mode for a cost of 1. It has the effect when Digivolve, draw 2. Then you may use one single color option card with a use cost of 5 or less from your hand without paying the cost. It also has the effect your turn once per turn. When you use option cards with a use cost of 2 or more, play one Pipe Fox token, which is a yellow Digimon with 6 KDP and as blocker. So when BT17 Sakuyamon dropped, I was pretty underwhelmed by it. It's not a terrible card, letting you play your options for free, DP minusing, and bounce protection. So what's the problem? It kind of missed the point of the deck, where you're rewarded for playing your options by giving you a rushdown like EX8 Sakuyamon, unsuspended to do more swings to take advantage of cards like offense plugin. So what does BT19 bring to the table with a new twist? Tokens of course. So already on Evo, you're straight drawing 2 cards, then from there you can use one of your options for free, as long as it meets the requirements. To make it even better, as soon as you use that option, you create a blocker token that can make a great wall or even swing with next turn. That effect stays, by the way, so keep it on the field and use an option cost 2 or more, and you're spamming out tokens so much it'll make a Centralmon blush. I know this card is already being abused in Tao Loop, but a card this generic will find its way into combo decks in the future, so get used to seeing this art. Absolutely sauce. And now for the final Digimon we're going to be talking about, Sakuyamon X Antibody. It's a level 6 yellow Digimon with 12 KDP. It can Digivolve into any level 6 with Sakuyamon in name without the X Antibody trait for a cost of 1. When Digivolving, if Sakuyamon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's evolution cards, play one Uka no Mitama token. It is a yellow Digimon with 9 KDP and has Rush. It also has the effect your turn once per turn. When any of your Digimon attacks, you may use one single color option card with a use cost of 5 or less from your hand without paying the cost. If this effect used, one of your Digimon unsuspend. There's a lot going on in this card, and no, I am not talking about the card art. Already just getting a free token as long as you have a Sakuyamon sources is really nice. Sorry, quick side tangent. The condition to get the token requires you to specifically have a Sakuyamon in sources, yet the alternate Evo checks for only Sakuyamon in name. Sure, it's probably there so it can still go into maid mode that usually has Sakuya in sources, but you know what I think? This is Bandai disowning Kazuhamon. Sell your copies quickly before Bandai sends them to the Digital Ocean to hang out with the Pokemon and Anubismon. This has been Market Watch with Tomo Takuya. Back to the card. The second part of the card checks if anything attacks, including your new Rush token, and allows you to further play more options. God, I love this deck. It is strange the deck is bringing in tokens out of nowhere, but like, hey, third time's a charm for a deck entity, right? Memes aside, this card is definitely sauce. And now for the final card we're going to be talking about. She's been known as the Digimon Queen. Yes, it's Rika Nonaka, a yellow tamer with a play cost of 3. She has on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add one Digimon card with Renamon, Kyubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon in its name, and one option card with plugin in its name among them to the hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. She also has your turn when you use option cards with a use cost of 2 or more. By suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. With the security effect, play this card without paying the cost. Without sugarcoating it, this card is insane. On play can search any Digimon in line and any plugin. On top of that, if you use any option 2 or more, you get refunded a memory back. Like with BT19 Sakuyamon, this card is also very abused in Tao Loop, but without a doubt, depending on future support, or if anyone really cooks with these cards, this card will be a menace. God knows how many archetypes would kill for a level 3 search that gets searches like this, let alone a tamer that very quickly refunds the memory you spent. For this finale, this card is 100% sauce. So how is the Sakuyamon deck support? Overall, it looks pretty solid. The new cards do a great job of continuing the playstyle of what the deck was already doing and improving that by finding more ways to find your pieces and cheat out these options for free outside of EX2 Rika. There are still some issues with the deck that isn't quite unique to itself, like deletion or bounce protection, though if you feel it's a problem in your current meta, don't be afraid to slot in BT17 Sakuyas. Another card brought to my attention thanks to fellow hunter Daemon Reaper that can provide excellent protection is BT18 Wizardmon. Since your deck is all mono yellow data type, it slots in perfectly to give your stack any sort of removal protection, just with the one downside of trashing your security, but that's a small price to pay to keep your stack alive. Also, now that we have the deck generating tokens, there's one final thing I want to leave off on. If I had a nickel for every time a mono yellow deck with a boss monster based off a grown woman with an eye cover creating tokens, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. I rate this support 4 out of 5 life-sized Renamon plushies. This is my own personal deck list for Sakuyamon, but feel free to kind of change whatever you'd like. The Aegistramon was actually a really interesting tech I got from Chaos Degrade, and honestly, going up against it, it's pretty hard to get around, so it's not a bad level 7, especially if you only have one Ruin mode that you own. If you're looking for more protection, you can definitely play around with ratios of BT17 Sakuyamon, or even you could take out the BT17 Kyubimon and add the BT18 Wizardmon instead, as you can still do what your deck needs, but now with protection. Ratios on the other hand, I would keep it around the same, but again, feel free to change what you feel comfortable with. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let us know down in the comments, how do you guys feel about the new Sakuyamon support? Are you excited for it, or is there something more you're looking for? I'm actually recording this on Valentine's Day because, as you would know, I play Digimon, therefore I am maidenless. But I hope you guys at least had a good Valentine's Day if you're watching it, and if not, don't worry, we'll get him next year. Thank you guys for watching. This is Taomon Loop signing out. See you in the next one.